Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And Dr. Lopkin, I really don't know what's in the news. Maybe you can help me out.
Well, I mean, the big story is Trump's televised address. I mean, he hasn't done many of these, which is not surprising given his relationship with the press. And he came on and basically said, this is what's going on with border security. He made a promise to keep the country secure, and he's not backing down.
Yes, I would agree with that. Do you think he scored any points?
I don't know that he scored any points. I think if you were in his corner before, you're still in his corner. I think if you were opposed to him before, you're still opposed to him. He made some good.
Okay, on the bigger issue, though, this as an aside, when did we get to a point that the Democratic Party now wants open borders?
I don't know, but I mean, it's relatively.
Yeah, I mean, it's only the last like 3 years.
But there's been video going around from 2006 of both Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama talking about the need for walls, and they use the word walls on the border. So
yeah,
they were
so
for this during the Obama administration.
I agree, but the question is, how did it shift? Was it during the Obama administration? What happened?
Well,
or is it just a radicalization of the Democratic Party overall?
I think it's an indication of their overall shift. Over the course of the Obama administration, the Democratic Party shifted further and further to the left. We saw in the midterm elections, it's gone even further to the left.
Yes, it has, Lopkin. Yes, in fact, I think they're going to, because of this, lose some constituencies. Like the, I don't know, I think we talk about the Jewish part of the Democratic Party. There's a big chunk of Democrats now that are into divesting Israel.
Yeah. I think.
So how do they maintain?
I don't think they do maintain. I think that's part of this, because there have been a couple of the newly elected Congress people who have gone out and stated that they want to extend voting rights. They want, non-citizens, they want illegal immigrants to be able to vote.
I think you're at the crux of the matter, quite frankly, and the crux of the matter is that the Democrats are losing mainstream America, average Americans, and they know for their very survival, they need an influx of immigration, both legal and illegal, correct?
Exactly.
Non-professional immigration, too, correct?
Yes.
So I think, who do you think wins this battle?
I don't know that anybody wins the battle. The longer it goes on, the worse it's going to be for both sides. I think ultimately the Democrats lose more than Trump does. I've spoken to a number of centrist people who were against the wall when Trump was elected. And now, as this goes on longer and longer, their attitude is shifting to just give him the money for the wall. I mean,
okay, so that's interesting. I thought he would be on the losing end. You think he'll be on the winning end?
I had thought he was going to be on the losing end until I started talking to people. I think they see, because Trump told them this was going to happen. He said, this has to be in the budget or I will not pass it. And he told them that with more than enough time to put it in the budget so that there didn't have to be a shutdown. The Democrats
actually, it's all political. Dr. Lopkin, it's all political because
of course,
he probably won't be able to build the wall anyway for years and and years because of legal challenges.
Probably.
It's all posturing.
But that's another thing. The Democrats don't want to risk that. They can't risk a legal challenge because the Supreme Court now goes conservative. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg's health is so bad, they're terrified that she might not be able to live out Trump's term.
I think that's a real possibility. And I think you would see a ramped up impeachment process if she starts getting really ill.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But actually,
so,
I think
you had some news about the Mueller investigation. What say you?
There was some minor news in the Mueller investigation. They arrested the Russian woman that met with Trump officials early on. There's still no indication of collusion. The closest they've come to collusion is that they unsealed one of Manafort's indictments, and apparently Manafort gave polling information to a Russian businessman, and that Russian businessman has ties to Russian intelligence. Now, one, they've already said this was so minor it doesn't even rate a criminal charge, and two, you don't do business in Russia unless you have ties to the Kremlin and Russian intelligence. So saying a Russian businessman has ties to intelligence doesn't mean anything.
Yes, I would agree with that. Now, I mean, let's just talk power. Mueller's a powerful figure. You don't get to be where he is if you're not driven and have an ego. He's not just going to say, "Oh, it's a nothing burger." He's got to say something, correct?
I think he's trying to find something, but I think the Mueller people, and certainly the Democrats, think they have to do this quickly, because when the new attorney general comes in, he's going to be in charge of the Mueller investigation, and he has said publicly he believes it's a witch hunt. So they think he's
that's why. Well, that's why Sessions was probably firing Comey and appointing Jeff Sessions were the two biggest mistakes Trump has made. Jeff Sessions, a disaster.
Sessions was a disaster, but I don't know that firing Comey was a mistake.
Yeah, that's how you got the whole obstruction of justice thing, whatever.
Yeah, but Comey was so incompetent even under Obama that he needed to go.
Yeah, but you know how things change. So, where do you think the end of our last question? What do you think happens to the whole Mueller investigation? I think it's going to be a tempest in a teapot, a lot of fodder for both left and right, but really nothing enough. And I also think, and onto that, I really do believe that the Democrats, or the best thing that might have happened to Trump is the Democrats taking control of the House. What do you think? Both of those issues.
With the Mueller investigation, I think they're going to end up wrapping it up quickly because I think they want it done before the new attorney general comes in. I don't think they're finding anything. I think it is a tempest in a teapot. However, because it's Congress that gets to define what high crimes are, I don't think that's going to stop them from trying to impeach Trump.
Which will backfire on them.
I think that definitely will backfire on them. In fact, you had the newly elected congresswoman from Michigan who, using an expletive we're not going to say on the podcast, said they're going to impeach. The Democratic leadership shut her down quickly. They were embarrassed by her, and they said her doing this was drawing attention from them actually getting anything done. So I think there's people who are pushing for impeachment, but I don't know that it's going to get anywhere.
I actually don't think they have the votes, and I'm really being completely honest.
I don't think they do.
So, anyway, Lopkin, another edition of Carnivore Bites. Another interesting week.
Yes. See you next week.
Take care.
You've been listening to Carnivore Radio's podcast. You can catch us here every week. Carnivore Radio is part of the Xvadio podcast network. You can listen to the podcast at blogtalkradio.com/Xvadio. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can listen to us live every Friday at 4 o'clock on WESU 88.1 Middletown, Connecticut. You can also catch us online at WESUFM.org. We look forward to hearing from you and see you next week.